make a pie chart, or it's like, look at this giraffe, and it's like there's a picture of a giraffe in his hand. Look at this giraffe.
Yeah.
As will ever be.
Yes, I think so. All right. This camera?
Center camera.
All right.
Whoa.
Oh.
Oh no, it's not center camera. Where?
This one.
That one. Okay.
All right. Shoot.
Start over.
All right.
It has
No
no
light.
viewfinder, so you can't see the tally light on top.
I had a viewfinder as a kid.
Here. Educate yourself.
It used to freak me out because my parents got me the Close Encounters of the Third Kind little reel thing, and the alien always gave me nightmares as a kid.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
From Close Encounters.
Terrible.
Yeah.
It was
Absolutely
an evil
terrifying.
ball
Especially when you're
baby.
looking at it through a viewfinder.
Yeah, it's like
because you
3D
feel like
and
you
like-
just like, it was like a window to your soul, and it like, just, anyway.
They're weird.
Yeah.
Those space baby ones are always weird.
Rolling. All right.
Rolling.
3, 2, 1. Come. Talk. What? Do it again?
We'll do it live.
All right. Hey, at least we didn't get 45 minutes in this time.
You're never gonna let me live that down, are you?
No.
Never.
No.
Oh, Tyler's still mad at me about that.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Comic Shop Talk. This is the Halloween edition of Comic Shop Talk. Woke up this morning and there was a little chill in the air. There was a little chill in the air. It's starting to get to be spooky time. So
It's always spooky time.
So it's always spooky time. Well, for some people, I suppose. But we have a show that is going to be jam-packed full of spookiness for you.
Oh yeah.
Actually, when you tune into our pop culture vid later, we'll have another dose of spookiness for you.
Double the
with some
spooks.
great movies. But
Two
But-
spooks.
2 spooks for the price of 1. That price is free, by the way. So anyway, without further ado, let's get to the spooks. We got what are we going to talk about first? Are we going to talk DCeased?
DCeased, DCeased.
I mean,
Is it
we knew that for the
diseased?
longest time, but
That's true.
DCeased.
Is it diseased or is it deceased?
I think it's DCeased. but
DCeased.
That brings a very
Yeah.
good point because we're talking about zombie infections,
Yes.
viruses and such that are infecting superheroes.
yeah.
You kind of think that most of these superheroes would have been like, just like
You'd think they
immune
would
to
have gone
this.
over that before. Like, is undeath something that a superhero doesn't have to worry about, or?
Yeah, I don't see why it wouldn't. They follow the same rules. Superheroes die, they come back to life. Usually not wanting to eat brains, but
That's true.
here we are.
You'd
Are
think
all
that
of our heroes zombies?
you think the DC universe heroes would have paid attention to what happened in Marvel Zombies?
Yeah, you figured they would have read that because that happened like a decade ago, and what's going on
Exactly.
currently in Walking Dead.
Yeah.
And been like, guys, we should really plan for this contingency. And what's incredible is that the superhero that dies like first is Batman.
The greatest detective
And he's the
goes
one that-
down first.
Yeah, and he plans
Well,
for
one of
every
them. Yep.
contingency, right?
That's
Like,
right.
That's kind of what he's known for, and somehow.
To be fair, he is the most human of all the superheroes, though.
Oh, that's true because he doesn't really actually have superpowers.
He's not actually
per se.
superhuman, so that would make total sense that he would be the first one to succumb to.
He was the most vulnerable.
Yeah.
But let's talk about what's triggered this whole thing. How did this whole infection begin?
Well, it's kind of weird because, like, unlike other zombies, and actually, kind of like other zombie things, they've not ever really explained the origin of this virus, other than the original spreading of it happened through screens, through digital devices.
Right. It
people
kind of
who-
had like a Stephen King Cell.
Yeah, right.
Type of feel to it. Yep.
People are just like watching TV, or they're on their phones or their iPad surfing the internet, and all of a sudden this video comes up, and yeah, everyone just goes
So
zombie.
That's it.
It sounds like the beginning of The Ring, actually. Like, you watch this tape and then 7 days later you die, kind of thing.
There's no cooldown period, so it's
Oh,
like
dang it.
boom, zombie.
Cool.
It's
So-
well, technological horror, right? That's what
Yeah,
we got
techno
here. It's
horror.
been done
Before.
a lot of times before.
Yeah.
I like
but-
this because it almost has like a it almost has like a parallel to like memes, right? The way that memes spread and stuff online.
Oh yeah,
Like,
viral content.
Exactly, viral
Ah.
content. Like it just like
Yeah.
how fast and quickly it can just take hold in pop culture and just like change people's perceptions, their behavior, based on.
Is DC getting meta?
Yeah,
Is this like a euphemism for like fake news?
I wonder if there is like some kind of there's some kind of meta story where
It's
they're
like the
talking
more
about
we
social
consume
media.
pop culture content, the more brainless we become.
Yeah, like maybe there's like less ability for us to think for ourselves, for us to gather our own facts and independent information,
Yep.
base our own independent views, as opposed to just kind of like absorbing what the mass culture is
And
kind
mass
of throwing
media
at us.
tells us.
Yep.
And we've all become very, very good at absorbing
Groupthink.
that. Yeah, groupthink. Yeah, this collective conscious that we're all tapped into.
Yep.
But unfortunately, we just
don't
like
like
tapped into the darkest. It seems like it's like we just easily tap into the darkest, worst parts of our psyche.
Absolutely.
So maybe there's some parallels there. I don't know. It certainly makes for good discussion. I like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And entertaining read for sure. I mean,
A lot of cool visuals too.
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
gory.
yeah, very
I-
gory.
I can appreciate a good gory comic.
Oh, what's a good zombie comic without some gore? Not interesting.
There wouldn't be right.
It's not
What's
published.
the point?
Yeah, it'd be just bad.
Right. Exactly.
Weak.
My Little Zombie. All right. Anyway,
You joke about that, but I guarantee there is someone on the internet who has done that.
probably.
Brombies.
Bro,
Let's not go there. Let's not open this can of worms.
bro brains. Brains. Give me brains.
no.
This will be a thing.
Oh no, now it's real.
This clearly will be a thing by like.
Don't let Pierce see this.
Yeah.
Um,
So it started off. I think the whole series kicked off with like the finishing touches of the fight against Darkseid.
dark side.
Darkseid, sorry. And
Side is always spelled weird, so it's like.
Yeah,
it is. I sometimes I think
always
it
read
should
it
be
as
Seed, right?
Darkseid.
Darkseid.
That-
But
it's confusing, sure.
But yeah, he's kind of, and then they think they beat him down or whatever. Superman breaks his jaw, and then it's like they have him under the lasso,
Yeah.
and he's just like, I got what I came for, and all of a sudden you find out Cyborg's gone,
Yep.
right? He's been taken away by one of Darkseid's henchmen. I can't remember the henchman's name, but he was. Yeah, but he
It's
was
been a while since one came
Henchman.
out.
henchman. We'll just call him henchman for now. Hooded henchman.
Joe.
And,
Let's call him go. Call him
And
Joe.
he's got half in his memory banks, or whatever you want to call it, in his hard drives. He's got half of the
The anti-life equation.
Yes, exactly.
And the anti-life equation is something that's taken from Jack Kirby's Fourth World stuff that he did with DC when he came over from Marvel. And basically, the anti-life equation is like this. I guess you'd call it an equation, or it's just basically it's almost like a spell that will allow him to enslave humanity. He can use it to control people, take over their wills, basically turn them into his minions.
Yes.
But he basically just like transmits this, right? And this is the genesis of what's turning people.
Yes, he turns Darkseid. This it infects Darkseid,
Yeah.
and he goes crazy. I wish I remember the henchman's name, but he basically tries to shut it down. He's immune to the disease
We have it here.
for some reason, but the Cyborg is then basically jettisoned back, or he gets back to Earth, and doesn't realize in a moment of not preparing for, or not understanding what is happening, unknowingly unleashes it,
Leashes it across.
and he tries
the
to
board.
create a firewall, but it's not. He doesn't put the firewall up in time
Right.
to stop it from going out and transmitting to.
everything.
So basically,
everything.
everyone gets a
Yes.
dose of this like corrupted anti-life equation, and
Yes.
it just goes all wrong.
Wreaks
Everything
havoc.
falls apart immediately.
So once the superheroes start getting turned, now we really start seeing some like damage because these guys can cause some major violence.
Yes.
And we see like Martian Manhunter goes down.
Yeah.
Wonder Woman just like gets the hell out of Dodge, and she's like, "Later, guys, I'm going back to Themyscira." And
Go back home.
yeah,
Bye.
see you guys. Good luck with that. And who else do we lose? We lose
Dick Grayson, I believe, is taken right away. I
Yep.
believe.
Yeah, Dick Grayson goes down,
Yeah.
so Damian
Damian steps up as Batman.
steps up as Batman,
Yes.
and they make a joke about that, like later on, like Poison Ivy and Harley Quinn are like, "Why is he being a tiny Batman?
Yeah, why is there such a small Batman?
Tiny Batman."
Joker, he gets infected early on.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it'd be easier to say who wasn't infected. Like our main cast right now is like Harley, Poison Ivy,
Flash.
Nope, not Flash.
Well,
right.
Flash just bit it in this
Flash
issue.
just got
Well, in the 5th issue.
on the 5th issue. Yeah.
yeah, but he survives for most of this time.
Yeah, for the most of the series so far, Flash has been
Yep.
around, but
Yep.
Wonder Woman kind of acts like as a, I don't know, she's like a
like an ambassador.
Yeah,
or
and
like
a
mediator.
liaison to Themyscira, and like is trying to use like basically take on whoever's left and not infected as refugees.
Yep.
Right.
So they can get the heck out of there.
Hal Jordan went down early, right?
Hal Jordan, I think, went down. Yeah.
I think so. I haven't seen him poke
I
around
didn't see
well.
Hal Jordan in the last issue, so I'm.
Yeah,
pretty
he
sure.
was. I know that a new Green Lantern was promoted
Yeah.
during that. A blonde woman, who I can't remember her
Just
name.
kind of looked like Black Canary, but I know it wasn't her. So.
And Barry eats it.
Yes. When
And
that's
that-
right, Martian Manhunter basically attacks the entire group
Yeah,
and
he-
kills Lex Luthor and
Yes.
yep.
So he kills the Flash, and that leads to what I think is probably
The biggest blow, Superman
Yeah.
getting turned.
Which was a pretty cool moment, just visually speaking, in the
Right.
comics, where you see Flash is just like basically wreaking havoc.
So he's just racing through infecting everyone.
racing through infecting everyone, and you see like this arc of his travels, on the surface of the Earth, from where Superman is,
Yeah, from outer
right?
space, yeah.
And Superman, knowing he can't outrun him,
Just decides
decides
to go
I'm
back
going
and
to
meet
basically
him.
I'm going to reverse course and meet him at some point. And by them meeting, really it means
Was
basically the worst head-on collision that
Yeah,
you could ever
basically.
imagine.
Yeah, the NFL's going to have
Right?
to take another look at that.
Yeah, exactly. That might
listen,
be.
that's way worse than a concussion.
That's a helmet-on-helmet infraction right there.
Was it Flash just explodes into body part shrapnel? And
Yeah.
when Superman makes it back to the Fortress of Solitude, there's just like Flash's ribs just sticking out of him. He's just like, oh yeah, he's dead. So am I.
Which is actually kind of, I did question that a little bit, because isn't he supposed to have like impenetrable skin?
I think so, but I think at that speed that they're
I think
going,
once you
we're
reach a
talking
point of
about
terminal velocity, where
Then
an
it-
unstoppable force meeting an unmoving object,
Yeah.
we're talking
colliding,
about like,
like
real like relativistic speeds, right? Like
Right.
matter and energy are kind of like malleable. So I think that's part of the reason why both of them going at that rate
Yep.
is what
and
kind of-
colliding
yeah,
that would cause that to happen.
but yeah, normally I would imagine Superman would.
We'll be able to shrug something like that
We've
off,
seen
but-
Superman, be injured before. He's been cut by like Doomsday.
That's true.
So he
Yeah.
can. We know he can be injured. It just takes a lot, and
Yep.
apparently Flash going at top speed, meeting Superman at top speed, that's
is
enough.
enough.
That's enough.
And Superman immediately realizes what's going on. He sees the fingers, and he's just like, "Fuck."
So he's like, okay, I'm gonna go.
he's like, "Damn it."
Yeah.
So he says his goodbye to,
Yeah.
to Lois and to John, his son.
Yep.
And
to
then
Ma Kent and
yeah, to Ma Kent, because Pa Kent unfortunately didn't make it through the zombification either. And he just blasts off into space to like suffocate himself.
Right.
But he doesn't make it.
Right.
Well, I mean, like, he doesn't make it, and then he doesn't make it into outer space deep enough because he turns.
Yes.
And our last panel is Superman basically just like huddled over, eye blasts going everywhere, and
Yep.
he's clearly succumbing to the zombie infestation.
Right.
So now you got zombie Superman.
Right.
I mean,
In one issue to tie it all up and see what happens. That's
get
not.
that kryptonite fast.
Do you think Kryptonite works on him? He's very dead.
Kryptonite shot to the head.
Good question, actually. I don't know how this all gets
I don't-
resolved. Maybe it's not meant to be resolved. Maybe this is really just an apocalyptic book. I mean, it obviously doesn't follow a true.
Yes, right. This is
It's
clearly
a
out of
what if
canon,
DC.
yeah.
Yeah. This is
It's
out
a
of
big
canon.
what if universe.
This is a
Tyler
what if
might
universe
actually really
story.
enjoy this one.
So yeah,
Right, because it's all the DC guys getting
Yeah.
smoked.
yeah.
Yeah.
You probably like that. I do.
Tyler, you should be here tonight. This would be something for you to really enjoy and sink your teeth into.
I love
no
the
pun
covers.
intended. Sorry, had to do there.
Yeah.
Do that.
Don't worry, I'm not gonna take your head off for that.
Oh, good.
I might.
I love the covers on these. They have some awesome covers. This is
They do.
Francisco Mattina. This one's awesome. They've been doing a lot of movie homages. I think that one's from The Conjuring.
I think so.
Ooh.
So issue 1, I remember had a homage to It, which was pretty awesome.
Yep.
And
Is that one there? We have issue number 1.
no, that's not
No,
the
that's
bear.
not
That's
the
just
right
the regular
one.
cover.
It's the standard cover.
Standard cover. Okay. Yeah.
But pretty awesome series. I was surprised when DC announced this because it seemed like they're very late to the zombie party, right?
Yeah.
Like Marvel Zombies already was a hit. Walking Dead had, kind of hit the peak of their popularity already, and
Yep.
it's definitely on the downs. I mean, I could be wrong, but I feel like the zombie fad's been slowly shambling
I
off.
think you're right.
It was
It's
very
slowly
much.
shambling
It was
off.
very
I
much
like what you
early
did there, Ken.
2000,
Thank you.
early 2010s was like when zombies really hit their stride in pop culture.
Yeah.
So it seems like they're 9 years too late to the game, but better late than never, I guess.
I guess I'm not
Yeah.
upset with it because it's quality. I mean, it's been
Yeah,
it's
like
a damn
it's,
entertaining read.
It's solid.
Yeah.
It's just I think it would have been. I think it would have done better if it was
I agree.
around the same time as everything else.
Yeah.
Maybe not though, because if it could have been lost in the whole
That's true.
fad
Because
you
of
know, like
saturation.
saturation,
Oversaturated,
just like
people
oh,
would
it's
just
another
wouldn't be
zombie
interested.
story. Not to say maybe commercially it would probably do a lot better, right? But just from the sense of getting its due,
Right.
like because this is a really solid story, and we can actually talk about this and not amidst this like throngs of other zombie stories that are
That's-
out there,
that's a good point.
so it's actually going to get
That
a
actually
little
makes
bit of
sense.
attention, so.
And maybe with the end of Walking Dead, people are, kind of itching for a zombie fix, and
That's actually a really good point. Yeah, because they might be feeling like, oh my gosh, you're taking away the thing that I love.
Yeah.
And, so something's going to fill the gap, right?
there really isn't that many zombie
Yeah.
books anymore.
They're, yeah, I mean, I think Marvel a few months ago came out with almost a manga style. Live TV, anything can happen.
Joaquin, no.
I think the
probably
Joker
going on
just,
floor.
yeah.
Quick,
That's
hide
all
your,
right.
hide your sponsorship.
Oh yeah, vitamin water. Is that allowed, Barry? Sponsorship of vitamin water?
No, we'll cut it. We'll cut it out. Don't worry.
Anyway, moving on. What were we talking about?
I don't remember.
Filling the void from zombie books.
Filling the void of zombie books. Yeah, but anyway, that's neither here nor there. It's a solid story. It is Halloween time. People who are jonesing for a good, nice horror read can look no further. Actually, that's the one to go for right now.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
it
I'd
should
say
be
so.
wrapping up right around Halloween time as well. So
Exactly.
Time
Exactly.
Keep your eye out on that, folks.
Now, I want to bring up just because it's one of the most beloved characters. Well, it's kind of weird to say beloved and have this character be in the same sentence as beloved, but I love me some Spirit of Vengeance. And Ghost Rider has returned with a title. Ghost Rider #1
Oh,
is
yeah.
now out on shelves as of this past week. And this is very exciting for me. I mean, one of the first graphic novels, or I don't want to say it's a graphic novel, but it could be. It's definitely a prestige format book that came out that I read and I loved was Hearts of Darkness, which was Punisher, Wolverine, and Ghost Rider, all in the same title. Loved that story and immediately fell in love with all three characters. So here we are. Ghost Rider is probably, I would say, of the three, probably the least commercially
Successful.
successful.
yeah.
All due respect, Nick Cage.
Although I mean,
What are you saying?
Ghost Rider also might be one of the most recognizable. I mean, it's hard to not see the flaming skull and not just like immediately associate with Ghost Rider.
He's definitely the most visually
striking.
stunning and striking of the three.
Yeah.
For sure.
The chains and the motorcycle, the leather. He's got a really cool costume design.
Innocent blood has been spilled.
It reeks of Todd McFarlane.
Yeah,
It was Todd McFarlane, really?
Yeah, I don't know.
I see that, and I think like Spawn.
Yeah.
And I know Todd McFarlane made Spawn, so like I just kind of like correlate Ghost Rider with Todd McFarlane, even though there's
Ghost
probably
Rider
nothing.
came out much earlier.
I know it has nothing to do with McFarlane. It just kind of happens that way.
Okay.
Okay. I mean, I can see the similarity, right? He's got like the chains.
The chains, the
the
spikes,
relationship to hell, and
Yep.
the Hell association, because Spawn is also associated with Hell.
Yeah.
So it kind of always seems similar to me.
it would
even though
surprise me if like Farland didn't take some of Ghost Rider as like
if he didn't, I'd actually be surprised.
his inspiration. Yeah.
That's
Because you can tell, like, the stuff that he likes obviously, like, the same kind of stuff, the horror stuff, right?
yes.
Yeah,
I'm sure
Yeah.
Ghost Rider must have been a big part of his formative years.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I'd say so. And so this book right here, like, it's confusing now for a lot of people who are fans of the character because, or at least not necessarily fans of the character, but are aware of the character, but there's been so many people that have been in the role
Right.
of the Spirit of Vengeance.
Yes.
So most recently we've had Robbie Reyes.
Yes. Who didn't drive a motorcycle.
No.
Didn't he
Has
drive a hot
pretty
rod or something,
badass
or-
car.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So, and he's running around with the Avengers right now.
Yeah.
All right. So, and then you've had not just two motorcyclists, right, with Johnny Blaze and Danny Ketch, but you've also had Ghost Riders on horseback.
Ah, yes. The original, I believe, was like a masked Phantom Rider type deal.
Yes.
Wasn't that Carter Slade, or was that the?
Carter Slade was one of the. I don't know if he was the original.
He was
but
one of them.
He was one of them.
He was one of the original like Horseman Ghost Riders.
Yep.
He was played by Sam Elliott in the movie, and that's honestly all I can tell you about Carter Slade. I'm just kidding.
So the Spirit of Vengeance, it's almost like Venom in a lot of ways, right? Because it's the symbiote can infect whatever. So this hellborn spirit of vengeance has chosen many different hosts.
People.
I don't know if you remember when we were reviewing, I want to say it was Savage Avengers. There was an issue where they were in the past. There was like a prehistoric BC Ghost Rider, and it was like a caveman riding a mastodon.
Oh
a
yeah,
flaming skull
that's
head.
right. It's awesome.
I'm trying to remember.
He's timeless.
Endless.
He's a timeless Spirit of Vengeance.
As long as
Yeah.
Mephistopheles is around, there's always going to be a Ghost Rider.
That's right. But that actually is a good intro into this story because the last we had heard of Johnny Blaze, Johnny Blaze had actually gone to hell, and he overthrew Lucifer.
Mephisto?
Or
Mephistopheles.
excuse me.
He's got all different kinds of names. Just the devil.
Yeah, the devil. But basically, he took over. He's taken over hell.
Yeah. He's the king of hell.
He's the king of hell.
He also has like cool,
Like Darth Maul horns coming out of his skull.
like flaming
He
like,
does.
crown.
It's like a flaming crown, basically. Yeah. And it's interesting because I'm not sure if we found this out in the series where this whole story got revealed, where he actually took over hell. But new sheriff in town, probably new rules, right?
Yeah.
So
Also, probably a population that's not too keen on the new rules either.
that's
Right.
true. That's true. Because maybe under Mephistopheles there was some, winks and nods to the rules, right?
Some
because
quid pro quo, if you will.
because you can't trust the devil, right? And he does what he wants to do and for his own purposes. And so we find out that there basically are these quote unquote leaks, and demons are escaping from hell.
Yeah.
And they're going out and basically having their way in the world of men.
Yeah, not a good
Right.
look for hell.
No, not a good look for hell, although perhaps under Mephistopheles, that's okay because that's creating more
Chaos
souls
and-
coming his way, right?
Sure, right.
Yeah.
But presumably, in issue 1, we have a Johnny Blaze who, because it's new rules, like, hey, we don't want to have these leaks. Like, we
Right.
want to protect people in the land of the living from these demons, right? And so we can't have them escape.
It
They
starts
have
with
to stay in
this
the confines.
sacrificing a demon to basically open up these leaks.
Yes.
And good old Johnny jumps out of hell to basically stop these demons, and they're running amok, and he's only one man in a world where demons are just kind of rampaging through cities. In a world this summer.
So naturally, he's going to go to his boy, Danny.
His brother.
His brother?
I believe they're brothers.
Are they brothers?
I believe there's like I think it was brothers or something. They're of relation. They're a relation of some sort.
Okay. That's interesting. I have to look into that one. I don't know.
I have to double check
But
that 'cause I don't remember
he
that.
goes to Danny, presumably to seek his assistance, you know, because within Danny is a spirit of vengeance as
Yep.
well, right? So, hey, you know, grab an ally and go to town and let's take these demons back to hell where they belong.
Yeah.
And,
And Danny's not having it.
Danny is, could you swing me one of those?
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, he's really not
you know,
into it.
He really isn't. I mean, he's busy. He's a business owner now.
Yeah, he owns
he's
a bar.
He owns a bar in a small town.
Purveyor
and
of
he's-
sin.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, like he's all right. He's doing it all. He's pounding back the brews and protecting the honor of his bartender. You know, that works for him and stuff. And you know, so he beats up on some people. He tries to keep that demon quelled inside him as much as possible.
And he's also grieving
And-
for his dead mom. Like he's
He's
going through a lot of
damaged
stuff.
goods.
he's going
right
through
now.
a lot right now, and
He's going through a
just,
ton.
This is just one more just dump on his day.
His ex is like coming around. She's like recently married with kids.
That
and-
opens some old wounds.
Yeah.
Yep. And so by the time Johnny Blaze comes walking into that bar to sit down next to him, you know, he's having none of this.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm all set. Like, I'm all set
I'm
with your war.
Good.
I could care less about the Ghost Riders war.
Because he feels like for him, the Ghost Riders basically destroyed his life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like any opportunity that he may have had for happiness was ruined because of this,
By the spirit of
curse.
vengeance.
Yeah. He even mentions, and it was kind of like, it was a little bit like I felt the twinge in my heart when he's sitting there in the midst of, putting back too many beers. Like the Ghost Rider even made me transform at my mother's funeral. He couldn't,
Couldn't even say
couldn't
goodbye
even
in peace.
give me that.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow, you're like this is pretty hardcore, and yeah, so we basically, fast forward to Johnny Blaze just deciding, all right, well, Danny, hopefully I'll see you around, and hopefully you come around to my way, of thinking, but I'm going to go take care of business. So he goes out and he starts chasing down these demons. And, but
Ghost of Danny's mom shows up.
the ghost of Danny's mom shows up, and what is it that she reveals?
That she asked that Johnny is going a bit too crazy because he wants to basically maintain his power of position as the king of hell. So he's going to destroy anything and everything that could threaten his position.
That hell has corrupted him.
Yeah, he's not a hero anymore. He is effectively the villain of this series.
Absolute power.
And
Yep.
you know what? I'm not going to lie. That's actually really cool.
It was a nice twist.
It is a nice twist, and this is definitely a way to get a little bit of Ghost Rider on Ghost Rider action, I think.
Yeah.
Ghost on
Finally.
ghost action.
Yeah.
I
Flaming
mean,
skull on a flaming skull.
it's cool because I like how they're really playing with the the malleability of good and evil, and
Yep.
Ghost Rider himself as a character is, he's definitely more of an anti-hero than he is a hero, right?
More of an ambivalent sort of hero.
He's
Absolutely.
an agent of hell, so he's
Yeah.
definitely evil by nature.
Doing evil things, but depending on who has the the spirit of vengeance. They do it for a variety of reasons.
Sure. And I like how they touched in that in this book where they say, it's not really, it's more of a symbiosis between the two.
Yeah.
Where there's always that push and pull between the host and then also the spirit of vengeance, where
Right.
like neither of them are fully in charge, and there's just like this constant battle of like who's kind of like leading them, who's really in control at the moment.
Yeah. I mean, he's kind of a supernatural Punisher in a way,
Yeah,
Sure.
in a manner of speaking.
I can see that.
'cause
Cooler ride.
Ghost Rider is not taking down innocent people. In fact,
No, he's
he's
actively
technically
hunting out sinners.
actively right. He's hunting down sinners and avenging,
Yes.
in a lot of ways, the sins against innocent people.
However, the wars that he starts then create more violence, which then spill over and can cause
Sure.
more innocent deaths.
Right.
So he doesn't directly try to harm innocents, but that doesn't necessarily mean that like
It
innocents,
doesn't happen.
Yeah, he doesn't hurt.
So in
innocent
some
people.
way, as an agent of hell, even though he is avenging, he could also be furthering
the
Hell's agenda.
Devil's agenda.
Yeah, the devil's agenda, right?
right. So it's
Also,
it's a very interesting.
One thing I noticed about Hell
Concept.
in this is that there seems to be a lot of power struggles. Like they that demon that they execute at the beginning. It's like you allied yourself with the false king. Like it seems like there is a third party in Hell. We have the main conflict between Johnny and Danny.
Yes.
It seems like there's a third party in Hell. What was it?
It's been teased, yeah.
It's been teased. It's this.
That if you didn't like me, wait until you get a load of this guy, kind of thing. Or I don't say guy because it could be.
It looks like it's a woman who's
Yep.
serving Lilith, which is like it's a kind of a cliche to say like, oh, Lilith, the princess or queen of hell. But like, it seems like Lilith is going to be an entity.
Well, in
that-
Marvel lore, Lilith was the daughter of Dracula, I believe.
Oh.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So we
Forgot
could
about that.
maybe we're having throwing some vampires into it, and those look like kind of vampire-ish.
Yeah, they got like pale greenish white skin.
Yeah.
Like they could be vampires. I mean,
Y'all
You don't
thought
know,
I
don't
was
judge.
bad?
Sexy vampires.
You
Don't
all
judge.
thought I was bad? Wait till you get a load of the competition.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
it could also be Mephistopheles' daughter in this situation. Like,
Yeah.
could be.
because we
Does-
already know Blackheart was one of Mephistopheles' children. He was arguably worse than Mephistopheles. So why not
Yes.
him have a daughter too? I mean, that only makes sense.
Absolutely. Yep.
So,
Art was pretty awesome in this. I mean, the art was spot on for this comic.
Oh, absolutely.
Like it was gruesome.
Yep.
It was kind of like fun though, like like the fun gruesome.
Yes.
as Ghost
It
Rider
was.
should be, because like Ghost Rider isn't like a campy kind of comic. Like it,
Aaron Cooter.
Aaron Cooter, one of Marvel's new young guns.
Yep. Yeah, no, it was fantastic.
art.
A great first issue. And
do you know if this is going to be weekly or is it?
Yeah, this
monthly?
is an ongoing. Oh, it's a monthly ongoing. I
Monthly.
believe.
Monthly ongoing.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So, yeah, many more months ahead of great Ghost Rider tales, hopefully. So,
Do we know what happened to Robbie Reyes? What's his deal? Where's he in all this?
well, Reyes, last I checked, was in the Avengers title. He's just
So he's still
not
in the
really.
universe.
He's still in the universe. Yes. Yes.
Because a lot of time when Marvel like brings back their legacy characters, whatever character is like currently
In that
in the
title.
mantle is like kind of like somehow gets pushed aside.
Yeah.
So I didn't know what happened to Robbie.
Yeah. No, he's still going. I know
Hey,
that.
maybe if he makes a big enough ruckus,
been-
Robbie could come back and we'll have 3 Ghost Riders
Well,
fighting
you
each other.
figure that would make like it's inevitable if they have a Ghost Rider title that Robbie Reyes, if he's still kicking around, that you
Right.
have to get involved. In
presumably he would be in
would
this book
think,
as well
but-
at some point. But no, I think he was rolling with. Wasn't he rolling with Blade recently?
Oh,
Sounds
they're
about
doing like a
right.
Legion of Monsters thing.
Yeah. And he's involved in that storyline.
That sounds about right.
Yep.
Like a Dark
So-
Avengers. Cool.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about maybe some of our favorite horror-related comics
Okay.
from years past, or maybe even something that's on the
Recent
horizon,
or-
or
Recent or old, like any time of all time.
Just anything that you think would.
anything. Like what jumps out at you
This
as
little
being
comic
like,
called The Walking Dead. I don't know.
Oh, I heard about that. What's that about?
Yeah. You may have
It's
heard
not
of it
really
before.
horror though.
It's more like a character study
Character
of like
study, yeah.
the survivors.
Right.
Yeah.
Not enough zombie.
Oop, I'm still knocking stuff over here.
6 out of 10,
I'm
not
dangerous.
enough zombie. No, like The Walking Dead's good, but I've been reading the Bloodborne comics recently.
Yep.
I talked about them a while back, and they're still releasing stuff for it. It's just I haven't been like on the new stuff as much, but it's a lot of like body horror and like Lovecraftian horror mixed in together, which I'm always on board for good monsters. So I'm not going to go into like crazy plots or anything like that because Bloodborne is very convoluted in its plot and it's all that stuff.
Well, so you say it's Lovecraftian, but is it supposed to take place in our world? What is it like? What is this?
It's its own like separate universe. That's kind of like it's kind of like a mix of like Victorian Gothic horror and like its own unique setting. There's like Gothic cathedrals and there's like these kind of zombie-looking people walking around, and
So it's not supposed to be Earth.
it's not Earth.
It's not Earth. Okay.
It's very similar, but like
Yeah.
it's almost like a divergent parallel universe to Earth,
Okay.
kind of thing. And the main character is this nameless entity just called the Hunter, and he hunts beasts, which is basically humanoids who are like starting to become like corrupted from diseases and things like that, actual like werewolves, and then like these like eldritch monstrosities, creatures that look like they're people, but they have like their backs ripped open and their spine and ribs are like teeth on their backs. It's a lot of interesting monster designs, and there is this whole thing about like blood ministration and like what happens if like humans consume the blood of monsters and things like that, and that's what is like turning them. It's this whole thing. So Bloodborne as a comic is based off of the video game by From Software from like 6 or 7 years ago.
Okay.
And it's the From Software games are like notorious for having like minimal story, so you kind of have to dig for the story.
Okay.
And the comic kind of followed suit with that, so it's like we follow the hunter through this kind of like nightmare landscape of like where nothing really makes sense. So it's like one minute he's walking through like this Gothic city, and then in the next panel he could be wandering in like the middle of nowhere, like vast empty plains where he's just like dragging this corpse behind him. It's like, okay, how do we get here? And the comic's just like, don't worry about it. Look at these cool visuals.
I'm sure the game was like a lot of the game was fed off that, right?
Yeah,
The popularity is off the
it's-
visuals and the atmosphere.
Yes, it's a very Gothic horror atmosphere that turns into like Lovecraftian insanity after.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
What is the title reference to? The Bloodborne? Is that into like the monster eating and the pathogens?
It's basically the reason it's called Bloodborne is because spoilers for this game that came out almost 10 years ago. If you do like all the secrets and you find everything out, like the whole story, you kill the final boss and basically are born as a eldritch god. Basically, you become a new eldritch horror. And it's basically through this blood ministration that you unravel and you learn the secrets and you start doing it to yourself, because like you use blood to heal and it's like mechanics. You basically become a god at the end. Like that's a very Japanese video game trope, is like your protagonist becomes like an infant god. And like you fight like an entity that comes from the moon, and you basically when you kill it, you become like the next version of it. It's very bizarre. It's very strange, and I love the Gothic atmosphere and the crazy monsters that you fight. Because, like I said, you fight a monster with like, it's like the human spine like explodes out of the back, and it becomes like these like teeth. It's crazy.
I do remember you showed me a few some of the issues.
Yeah, some of the
that
art
had-
from it. Cause
The art was fantastic.
Yeah, solid in terms of art, like Ghost Rider, solid art.
Yeah, but that one definitely had its own tone. It was much darker, like
Yeah.
much more, like you're saying, gothic. Whereas like Ghost Rider kind of had like that fun, like action.
Well, yeah,
horror.
I'm saying
Yes.
like how Ghost Rider has its own solid art style. Like Bloodborne also had like a solid art style.
Yeah.
So would you mentioned before that the story itself you had to dig for it.
Yeah.
Now, so in the comic book version, do you find it more of like a visual book or as opposed, or do you think
It's very much a visual story. There is some dialogue to be
Yeah.
like, okay, this is the character, this is what he's trying to do.
Yep.
But most of the comic is just like these visuals. It's much more of a visual comic instead of being necessarily story driven.
So you're not going to get too deep into.
It's not a deep story,
Yeah.
but it's a visually interesting story.
Okay. All right. Interesting. I have one that I thought of that absolutely horrified me when I first started reading it. Aftershock. Is it Aftershock Comics?
Well, it depends on what book it is. I don't know what book it is.
Insects.
Oh, yeah. It was
Oh.
Aftershock.
All right. So.
I don't like bugs in general, so
Yeah. and
You're
that's-
not gonna like this.
Oh no, no. This is this had one of those like moments in a book when I first started reading it. I think it was probably towards the end of the first issue. It's also in the I think Victorian days, but this is supposed to be Earth for
Okay.
sure. This was I believe England, Victorian England, and it's a lot of that whole. Almost like a Royals feel to it, you know, like you've got like people, aristocrats, you know, love interests, you know, like, and you have a couple women who are, one of the women has a suitor, and the suitor, you know, is like come hither type of thing, you know, moments where, you know, the big reveal at the end of the first issue is this man is not, he's not a good man, I believe, from what I recall.
It's been
And-
a long time since I've read
And,
Insects.
But there's supposed to be that moment, that romantic moment or that interlude, and what ends up happening is the woman reveals herself to be not human, and in that moment, basically,
Ways?
it almost like basically puts a larvae within the guy,
Oh.
and the larvae, you know, it
like
forms and
gestating,
it,
you
and it
know?
just
So it's like
and,
a
and
xenomorph,
bursts.
basically.
Oh yeah, and it is. Oh my gosh, I was horrified reading this
pretty
thing.
gross.
I was like, oh my, like. I was like, all right, I think I'm all set now.
I'm good.
And but so
I'm sure
very
they win.
effective storytelling, let me tell you.
Well, it's so effective that
visually-
you continue on with it.
Well, I did continue on with it, but I was kind of like, I had to like stop reading it at first because I was like, this is a little much. I'm a little shocked right now. I was not expecting this
I
turn.
am shooketh.
And so good on you guys for actually getting me to be that repulsed,
Oh, well done.
first of all, and that horrified. I mean, it takes a lot with me, you know. So that's definitely one I would recommend for people who have a, you know, not too faint of heart, you know. Insects by I can't remember even the writers, but it's Aftershock Comics.
Yeah. I don't remember who wrote it either.
Let me take a look.
Yeah, we'll have to look that one up.
Well, Ken
Hey,
Parker-
producer.
Was it Marguerite
Oh wait,
Bennett?
producer guy's here.
Yeah, it's me. Hi, I'm the producer. It's me.
Wait, no, Barry's in the booth.
I think it was Marguerite Bennett, but I might be wrong on that.
Yeah, Barry.
Okay.
Yes.
I got one that's a bit older.
Yep.
A favorite of ours that we talk about, and you know, it keeps having rumors of the show and movie, and that's
Yep.
Lock and Key.
Lock and Key. Joe Hill.
Joe Hill.
Yes.
The Stephen King's son, Joe Hill,
Yep.
and was it Gabriel Hernandez that did the art on it?
Yes.
And just a fantastic mix of horror and like almost like Lovecraftian horror in a way, but like without the without like, well, there were crazy monsters as well with like ancient evils and demons
Yep.
and portals into hell, and it's all just like unraveled at this very deliberate pace. There's constant mystery behind this house. There's a family. They have this massive tragedy. The father is murdered brutally.
Yep.
The kids go to this house that their father had grown up growing up
In Massachusetts.
in Massachusetts.
Yep.
What was it called? Do you remember what the town was called?
Oh gosh, I was trying to think of that as you were talking about it, but it's escaping me at the moment.
But it's like a fiction. It's a fictional island, kind of like Martha's Vineyard ish. But it's set in New England, as most of Stephen King's stuff is. I guess Joe Hill's wanted to do
Joe's
as well.
keeping that same tradition.
keeping the tradition alive.
Yep.
And they're 3 children, and as they're discovering this old, this old house that they live, summer house they're living in, they discover these keys. And each one of these keys, they figure out how to use them, and they unlock secret powers, and then it unlocks these mysteries unravel about like the origins of the keys. There are these ghosts and spirits that haunt the property, and everything's kind of tied together with the past of their father, and it's really just awesome. It's beautiful art, crazy good writing.
Yes. I could not recommend that series anymore. That's top notch, and it's supposed to be turned into a TV show.
I
Is it,
want
or
to say
something? Is that-
Netflix has it again. At one point, they did had a pilot, and it premiered, but like they'd never actually found any buyers for it.
Right.
But
Yeah.
I believe the TV rights got transferred, and the project's starting up again. And it would be nice to see. I think Netflix would be the obvious choice for it, where they could do it in a serialized fashion.
Yep.
Like 10 to 20 episodes, and really, maybe like 10 episode seasons, do like 3 or 4 seasons, and really have some spectacular TV, because it was awesome visually, the narrative, just a great combination of mystery and horror. That's my favorites.
Lock and Key lasted how many volumes?
I want to say
5?
it was. You mean as far as the trades go?
5 trades?
I want to say it was 5 trades.
5
'Cause
trades.
I believe it was like around 60 issues.
And I think the last time we saw anything from the continuation of the Lock and Key story, I believe there was an Omega.
Yes.
Lock and Key Omega, which was
Omega and Alpha.
Omega and Alpha. That's right, and that was probably a good 2.5, 3 years ago now.
Ooh. You were thinking about what was it? It was one. It was a spin-off they did on it. Some kind of room. I forget what it was.
Okay.
But they were related to the Lock and Key world and not necessarily tied to the main story, right?
Right. So I hope that property, especially if it's given life on the big screen. I wonder if Joe Hill ends up revisiting it at some point and creating new stories around the lore.
He's had his Nosferatu show on AMC, so he's gotten a taste for bringing a property to the screen, to the small screen, and. Granted, Nosferatu is a little bit more straightforward than Lock and Key. Lock and Key takes some time to get into.
Right.
It's about like you get a full a full trade-in before you actually start understanding what's going, having any idea of what's going on.
It's a slower burn for
Yeah.
sure, but very satisfying.
Incredibly satisfying.
Yeah.
Very deep. Very deep. A lot of characters.
Very deep, many good.
Very much good. And it spans like generations, and that's what's awesome. And they build this lore that goes back not only to their parents, but then like way back to like the early settlers, revolutionary times.
That's also a very Stephen King thing, is just like
An ancient evil.
Having ancient evils.
Yeah,
Ancient
ancient evil
evils,
that
yes.
exists in the land, and like people just kind of live through it through the generations.
And it
Exactly.
affects them in different ways. And
Yeah.
that's very much a Stephen
I
King
just started thinking about
staple.
Pet Cemetery. You saying that just now,
Ah, yes.
but
The Wendigo.
those are all good recommendations. I think.
I'll throw out one more.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Another indie book, Gideon Falls.
Gideon Falls.
We've reviewed it a few times
Yeah,
here.
we've talked about it before.
I recently picked up. They had a digital. Lemire had a digital thing on Humble Bundle. If you're not familiar with the Humble Bundle, it's like okay.
I know what it is.
You go online. They do like every once in a while they do Humble Bundle books, and they'll offer you like I don't know, like 15, 20 trades if you like donate like $5 to like so Humble Bundle. All their money, I think still like the majority of their money goes to like charity organizations.
Yeah.
So you donate like whatever amount,
And you get rewards for it,
Yeah.
basically.
and you can do it for books, comic books. Always have good comic books
I
section.
got a bunch of 3D print files from the Humble Bundle ones. Like I donated $15 and I got like 45 print files.
Yeah, they're awesome.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
And,
Go do that.
Yeah,
Find a humble bundle.
Check that one out.
that's where I got caught up on Gideon Falls because
Yep.
we had covered it I think for like the first arc, and then kind of just I think went focusing on all the stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, other things came up.
It's
and-
awesome. That
Gideon
book
Falls is
excellent.
fantastic. Yep.
It is so spooky,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just it gets more and more messed up as the second arc goes on.
It's those, the nails.
Yes,
The nails that keep in the barn.
the black barn.
Which is like it's.
And this is another like ancient evil. Like this is a structure that exists kind of like outside of time and place, but
Right.
it's in this area, this town of Gideon Falls.
Yes. Some good recommendations here, folks. So, at any rate, there's no shortage too. I mean, you'll find tons of good material that'll get your Halloween appetite satisfied.
Preacher.
So-
Oh my God, we didn't talk
Preacher. We didn't talk Preacher.
Sandman.
We didn't talk Sandman. We didn't talk
Swamp Thing. Oh my God.
Swamp Thing. I
So
think
many-
last Halloween we talked Swamp Thing.
I
That's
think
true,
we did.
we did.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Yeah, that does sound familiar.
That's why I didn't mention the Howling comic series, which was really the perfect sequel to the original movie. But we
Did
had
I do
already-
Lock and Key last year?
I don't remember
I don't
if you
think
did Lock
so.
and Key, but
Listen,
it's-
I remember last year's video
Lock and
very
Key's an
specifically,
exception.
and I don't think we talked about Lock and
Cool.
Key.
I don't think we did either.
I feel like
so
I
think that's
try
safe.
to bring it up at any like possible opportunity.
You know what? Valid. If it's a comic
That's
you want
okay.
people to read, it makes total sense that you'll push it.
This man knows what he's talking about with comic books. I mean, you
I
should
don't.
definitely check out
It's good.
all of his recommendations, including read the Crank File on our blog site, greatstoriesinc.com, and the Crank File, because he does a weekly and gives you all like the top hits that you should be checking out each week. So that's all we have for you for this episode. So we appreciate you tuning in, and
That wasn't that scary.
it wasn't that scary. We didn't creep you out too much, did we? Just that scary moment where the Joker
It's
fell
the
to the
setup.
ground.
That was freaky.
That was.
That was
The
spooky.
spirits were unhappy with us. Maybe it was because
Spirits
we're
of the
making
studio.
light of Halloween,
The studio spooks got
not
us.
taking it seriously enough. So, anyway, we'll catch you again soon. We thank you very much, and be sure to check out our pop culture video coming up.
Ha 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 ha!